Are you ready to dive into the new newsletter product in Kajabi? If you are, join me in today's video where I give you the insider scoop on how to get it set up properly without trying to follow the Kajabi help articles. They're great, however, they don't give you all the details and they don't tell you the things to be careful of so you don't mess this up. So join me in today's video as we dive into the newsletter setup in Kajabi. So the first step in getting your newsletter set up here is heading over to the newsletter sections under products. You're going to get this welcome screen. Of course, we're going to hit get started. And this first part is pretty straightforward. Most people could follow through this. So we'll get through this pretty quick. Add a title, whatever you want. A brief description. And you don't have to put a thumbnail unless you want to. If you don't have one designed right now, just leave it blank and you can fill it in afterwards. If you're going to have a paid part to your newsletter, you can fill out this section here. Again, if you want to bypass it, you can fill this part out afterwards. Kajabi likes to give you kind of a guide to all of the steps right off the bat, but of course you can always skip past and just work on a free newsletter to start. Now Kajabi is going to do its thing while it kind of gets things set up in the background. And once this process is finished, then we'll be able to get started on designing our newsletter. But there's a little bit of a hitch. Now, some of you will be fine and good to go and won't have any problems getting started on it. However, some of us who have been in Kajabi for a while, our websites are on an older version of Encore. And so with this newsletter product, we're going to have to potentially update our website theme in order to have the newest Encore theme to support the newsletter. So once it's finished doing its thing, you'll get a page like this, and it has in here some sample posts that it just automatically puts in there, which we can delete. But we are going to actually have to go and update our home page or our home site theme, our website theme. So you'll see potentially this message up top that your site theme is needing an upgrade. Okay, so this is the part where things get a little bit tricky because there's some issues that could potentially happen when you update your website theme. So let's head over there and talk about that. Now, when you're going to go and update your website theme, there's a couple of things that you need to consider. First of all, does your website theme have any custom coding in it? Did you purchase your website theme from a third-party company like Penny in Your Pocket or Jiffy Courses or potentially Meg Burge? Those are some of our top Kajabi template service providers. If you have one of their website themes, so a landing page, just a single page is fine, not an issue. We're not concerned about that for this, but what we're concerned about is the website theme. So when we are on this design page here, if you have a theme that was purchased from one of the other template providers, you are going to need to reach out to them first before you go and do this upgrade, because what can happen is if you aren't checking with the service provider, you could end up erasing their coding. So you want to make sure that your theme does not have coding in it before you do this update. So I know I don't have any coding in here because this is just my sample site, so I'm good to go. You can see here it needs an update. Okay, now one insider tip for you before you do any updates: always get a backup of your site. Now we're going to do that right away so that you know how to back up your site. So what you do is click on this arrow up here and you're going to go export as zip. Okay. When we click on that, it's going to take your website theme and all those pages and all the design that's on them. It's going to wrap them up into a nice little package and it's going to email you a zip file. Okay. You're going to go into your email, take that zip file, download it to your computer, and then go put it in a cloud storage place like Dropbox or Google Drive or something. Don't leave it on your computer to get lost in the downloads folder. Go store it away somewhere safe. You can rename the file if you want so you know exactly what it is. But it's really important that you do back up your theme before you do this, okay? That's one piece that the Kajabi help articles don't really tell you, but that's what you need to do in case something goes awry. You can go and put that theme back in and revert back to what you were at. So now that I have got my backup done, now I can go ahead and hit the update button. It's going to tell me a little bit of information about what the newest update is. As you can see, it's a newsletter update, which is important. We're going to hit preview update. It's going to give me kind of a little sample of what it looks like. I can hit preview If I open up the preview and I see it's a complete mess, it's a disaster, that probably means that you had some custom coding in your theme, and do not recommend you update your theme without talking to the template provider. So if it comes out all nice, it looks good, then you can go ahead and click that you understand that this is going to wipe out any coding that is in your theme. And then you can go ahead and hit update now and let Kajabi do its thing. This is going to allow the newsletter functionality to happen. It places two website pages into your account, and it's going to not be a landing page, unfortunately. It's going to be a website page as part of our system pages. So right now it's just building those pages in, and it couldn't do that on the old theme. All right, so now that that update is done, you can head over to website pages, and you will see that you now have 3 new things. Sorry, I said 2, but it's actually 3 for you to work with. And that's what we're going to dive into now. We're going to look at how to design and develop these pages, as well as create a newsletter post. So we're going to head over back to our newsletter under products, and you can go ahead and pop right down to newsletters. Okay, this is the one that we had created previously. We can go ahead and open that up. So obviously we don't have any stats right now, but this is where you can view all of that stats once you start having it running. Now, if you want to pop into one of these kind of pre-made templates that Kajabi made, you can go ahead and take a look. There's just very basic text in there. Now, if we want to get rid of some of these, we absolutely can. We can go over here to our drop-down menu, and we can go ahead and hit delete. Yes, we're sure we want to delete it. So you can leave them in there. They're draft. They are harmless. They're not doing anything. If you wanted to leave them for samples, by all means. But let's look at creating a new post. So it starts off with just a blank canvas, a blank page. Now there's lots of different options that you can use here. The first spot here is to put the title. Okay, this, you don't really have a lot of say in the style and sizing of this. Hopefully Kajabi will allow us to edit the sizing in the future, but right now this is the header 1 styling that is being pulled from your website pages. So this would be your title of the post, so your single newsletter post that you're going to send out. So not the title of your entire newsletter, but the single post that you're going to send out in the future. Okay, now that we've got the title, we can go ahead and add a block. If we click on here, you'll see we've got lots of different options to choose from. And usually you want to start off with some text. So if we look under the headings here, you can do a subheading of whichever size you wish to do. Typically, you do your highest level text at H1, and then each kind of subheading would go down in number. So that's pretty much it. You can pick what you want to do. If you just want to do body text, you can just type your text. It's pretty straightforward. And if you want to go to another line, you hit enter, you get another line. If you want to add in an image, go ahead and hit the image block. Okay, you can browse for where you want to grab your files from, and you can go ahead and add in a image. We'll just throw in a random one, doesn't really matter. This is just a poor quality one, which is fine. And you have lots of options here for your image. You can add a link. So if you want people to click away, you can add a alt text or image title. You can also adjust the sizing of it. We can make it bigger, we can make it smaller. And what's really cool is that we can also adjust the radius. I don't know if you saw it behind there. I'll go back to 0. You can kind of see it. This image already was kind of had a radius on it, a curved radius, but I can make it more if I wanted. You can make it even circular if you want. So that's really cool. You also have additional edits here in the Adobe Express. And then we can also center align it, left align it, that kind of stuff. And we can also delete it, of course. All right, now we can take a look at some other things. You can do your typical numbered list. Just like you would normally in a text editor. So really straightforward. Okay. And then we also have regular bullet lists. Now the buttons is nice. It is going to pull the button color from your site settings. So your website theme settings, whatever you have put in for that button color, that's where that background is going to come in. You can pop in your link here and you can decide whether to open it in a new tab or not. So if you're looking to style this, you kind of got to pop out of the newsletter to style that. And I'll show you that one in a little bit. Other things that we can do nice block quotes. Okay. We can also do a nice horizontal line if you wanted to break things up. Let me get out of the block quote because that was a line inside the block quote. So you can do one separate like so. And now what's really cool about the newsletters is that you can have what's called a paywall break. So you can have where the first part of your newsletter is all for people who haven't paid. So free newsletter on top, but then you can have a section or everything below for people who've paid and they're members and they just have an account in your Kajabi platform, and then they can log in and see additional content that is for members only. So that's one of the cool features about this newsletter, is that ability to have free versus paid content on the same newsletter. Similarly, the subscriber break you can have for just open to the public without any subscription, or you can have it where you have to be on your email list in order to actually see the content. So some great flexibility here with those options. We also have the ability to embed a link. So if you wanted to put that here, you can embed your link into here. And if you wanted to put the URL in here, let's just pop in one so you can see how it looks. Oops. So once you pop your link in there, it's going to populate the preview that's going to pull from the SEO settings in your website. So there it goes. It comes out really nice, really nothing that you really need to adjust. Same thing with Twitter, TikTok, YouTube. It's going to give you a nice little thumbnail, which is really cool. So you have the ability to do some styling in here, keeping it nice and fairly straightforward. So that's the basics of just putting content into the newsletter. Now, there are some settings that you can take a look at for this specific post. You can have a post thumbnail, so something that is designed just for this topic. You can add your tags in, which is really helpful for category searching. When you are viewing all of your newsletter posts, you can be able to have a nice, easy search there. And of course, author list, very similarly to blogs. It's almost identical to blogs, to be honest with you. You have the option to hide it from the web. So if you are locking this down and you don't want Google to index any of your information, you can hide it, or you can have it public where Google will index the content and add to your SEO. You can edit your slug of the newsletter. So if you wanted to have a really nice URL, you can go ahead and do that here. You just type in what you would like to have for that. Page title and page description, again, that is for SEO. As you can see, we're under the SEO and sharing section. So if you want it to be public, then you absolutely want to fill this stuff in. You can choose to have comments visible, hidden, or you can have them locked. If you want to edit the comment settings, you can just pop that open there. And then we have your email settings. So the cool thing about the newsletter is that when you create a post, it can automatically email your subscribers. So either everybody who's subscribed to the newsletter, it could go to just a portion of that subscription list. It can go to all of the people who have the free offer or people who have the paid offer. And of course, you can have it where it doesn't send an email at all. So you decide on how you want your people to be notified. But what's cool is that you don't have to go and make a whole separate email about this. It's automatically done in here. So you can get your post out there fairly quickly without having to do a whole nother step. So that's all pretty cool for the newsletter features. So that's the basics of getting the newsletter post created. When you're ready, you can publish it. If you want, you can use the preview button here and you can preview it as whichever type of member you are and see all the different views that everybody has, which is really handy. And then you can go ahead and publish it, which will then send it out. Now, if you have on your settings to send an email and you go ahead and hit publish, guess what? The email is going to go out. So don't make that mistake and send this and publish it if you aren't quite ready for it. So you want to make sure it stays as draft. So as you're writing your content, it is auto saving, which is really nice. So don't feel that you need to publish it until you're ready to actually send it out. So just auto save, which is really, really cool. Now, some of you might be wondering, how do I style the newsletter? Maybe I want a background color, or maybe I want different font styles, all that kind of stuff. So those settings are actually in your website settings. So we would need to pop over to the website area, and it's actually under the website pages. So the website pages is where you're going to style the newsletter. So you'll see you've got 3 options here of styling. So let's take a look at styling the actual post itself. So we put our content in the newsletter area, and this is where we go to actually style the newsletter. So we have some sample content in here from when Kajabi set this up first. It put sample content in here, so it helps us to be able to see what we're working with here. Now, similarly to styling any website page, you have your header area and you have your footer area, and you've got your pop-ups as well. So those are the same, nothing really to talk about different in those. What is different is the newsletter section. You have a newsletter post body. So this is where the content of your post is, and you have some options here to edit. All right, so if you want, you can just click on them and click off of them just to kind of get an idea of what they are. You can change the text here. You'll see it says back to all posts, so you can edit that if you wanted different words. You can change your sidebar. So right now the sidebar is right here, the search and the social share links. If we want, we can move it over to the left side, or we can pop it over to the right side as well. Okay, and then we have our social links. So in this case, we have, our Facebook and Twitter and all that stuff, and you can go ahead and fill in other ones. Same as landing pages, nothing different there for that piece. And you can, of course, you can delete these blocks or hide them if you don't want them there. As for content, what can you actually put in the sidebar? It is unfortunately fairly limited. In this case, it's really just adding the social share. So this is a new feature, a new button in Kajabi, which is not just for landing pages. They've actually added it in not just for newsletters, but they've added in for landing pages as well. So you can actually have a social share button in the sense that when someone gets on this, they can hit share and send it out to their Facebook or Instagram or wherever. So there's that. And then we have just regular desktop layout settings where you can adjust the padding above and below. And then just like our website theme, we have our style guide where we can go ahead and edit things in our style guide. Now, one thing that I need to caution you, insider kind of tip here that Kajabi doesn't tell you, is that when you go and edit the general appearance of your settings on the newsletter, you are actually changing it for all your website pages. So if you see some things on your newsletter that let's say you wanted to have different than your other website pages, unfortunately you can't. So this styling that is happening in the style guide here is going to go across all of your website pages. Now, it does not affect your landing pages. Those are separate. We're talking about the website pages. So let me just pop back here for a second. I'm not going to bother saving because it doesn't matter. We're talking about these website pages, all of these, like your library page, your login page, all of those. So the settings that you have set for those for design are going to carry across into your newsletter. Okay, so it's important that you don't try to customize your newsletter different than the rest of your website because it's going to affect there. So that's something for you to be really, really careful of. Now, other things that you can adjust with the newsletter is you can have this subscribe page, which is basically a simple landing page that just has the opt-in for people to sign up. Now, you can just create your own landing page for this if you wish. You don't have to use this default page. I personally probably wouldn't use this one right away. I would probably do my own custom landing page. You have more abilities for customization in that area. But if you wanted to just be quick and just get it done, then just style this page and you're good to go. The issue that I have with this is that it doesn't have the name field. And for me personally, I always recommend to collect their first and last name as well as their email. And this is so that you can personalize any emails to them. Okay. It's really nice to be able to put their name in the email So I don't recommend using this, at least not right now when it doesn't have the name field in it just yet. So that's just my insider tip on the subscription for newsletters. Now to edit the actual newsletter itself, if you think of the newsletter as kind of like a magazine that has a bunch of posts, so we styled the individual posts, but now the whole entire magazine itself, the whole newsletter itself, which is basically like a blog page, it's almost identical. So it's going to have all your different posts in here. It also comes with this default hero section at the top, as well as the bottom for people to subscribe. Again, I don't really like this part, so I would just hide it. Unfortunately, Kajabi doesn't let us delete it, so we're just going to hide it. And you can go ahead and put in your own stuff. So we have all the options from landing pages in here, which is amazing. So we can just go put our own opt-in form and have people sign up for the newsletter through that way. So we just set it up through automations, which will do the same job as what these do, but then I can get the name in and not just have the email. So I just hide those personally. Okay, and you can go ahead and just add whatever blocks you want and style this any way you want. Put your calls to actions, you know, get whatever. If you want to put offers on here, by all means you can. But yeah, you have the freedom to do whatever you want on here. Okay, and one more thing to just remind you, again, the styling of this is following your website theme. So you change the background color, you change the header, any of that kind of stuff. It goes across all pages, including this one. So keep that in mind when you are styling this. And one quick tip, if you want to style this newsletter and you want to head over there real quick and easy, you can hit this button up top here where it allows you to edit those pages. So we went the kind of roundabout way where we went and styled through the website pages over here, but there is a quick button here that you can use to pop up into a new tab and be able to stylize your posts or the newsletter or the sign-up page itself. If you're getting a little bit stuck, feel free to reach out to us at onitvirtualservices.com, and we are your Kajabi specialists to help you get unstuck.